It is yours truly, Primo SB, Preem Strict Biz, Shin SB, Dobus PR, and all that. Today, for the Saturn enthusiast out there, I'm doing a review quickly on these three pads, not because of how good, one is over the other per se, but which one is the closest to the feel of a Sega Saturn pad. Now, you're looking at the bottom right one when I'm saying that, and yeah, that is licensed by Sega, but it's not actually one of the official OEM USB pads. That's actually the one that's from Retrobit. I'll get to that in a minute. So, this one just came out the other day, at least on Amazon. And I can't find it anywhere else, but I can get the other ones for the Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch through GameStop, through Walmart, whatever. But the PlayStation one's only on Amazon. Comes with a braided line. It's heavier than this one. The D-pad is pretty much identical, maybe a little bit tighter. And these are like Xbox glossy buttons. Honestly, if you're looking for a pad for the PS4 without using a Brook adapter, that is definitely where the money's at. I love this pad. And I spent maybe a half the price then of that, but I'll get to that one in a second. But I can't recommend that pad enough, the PowerA Fusion Fightpad. It's amazing. It truly does feel like a Saturn pad. Even if you got stuck with one color for the faceplate, you wouldn't be shit out of luck. I really like using it in the Street Fighter collection for Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Alpha 3. I've used it on the Capcom Beat 'em Up collection. I've played Sonic Mania with it. Ultra Street Fighter 4. I dicked around with it. I really do prefer that one out of the three for PlayStation. Now, this controller I've been fucking with for the past year or so. And honestly, if this one never came out, that one would be my go-to, but I have a couple plights with it. First of all, the D-pad's better than the original Commander. And it's not only because you can, adjust it here, to spin the D-pad or to kind of make it stiff or loose, but that the D-pad doesn't cut your fingers up as bad as the original standard vanilla Commander. Also, like both versions, these buttons, compared to something like this, or something like this, sometimes I'll be trying to pull the X moves in Alpha 3 or Third Strike, and the buttons stick. So like when you're normally like repeatedly pressing like a lighter attack, kind of like a jab or a light kick, when you're trying to do like the Z-isms, it just, I don't know, like it's not really so like performance accurate. Like you always miss inputs. I mean, the bumpers are cool, and everyone gives this pad, by the way, a lot of grief and crap over how sensitive these are and that these are triggers. Personally, I love the ergonomics of the bumpers and the triggers on this one. This one's alright. These buttons in the back, the L2 and R2s, they're too like big. Like sometimes I miss inputs pressing those buttons too. Like it's just like I feel like the sensor is like dead in the middle of like this like pretty much where the number is, and like if you're not hitting it exactly there, it's not like always inputting. But now let me get to this pad. So this is the Retrobit one, and as you can notice, it's supposed to come with a gray D-pad. I put a black one in there. Reason being, I finally survived to live a horror story of what happens with these pads from Retrobit that Sega co-licensed. I've been hearing since I got this pad back about 5-6 months ago, the D-pads usually break over extensive use between 1 to 4 months. I didn't believe it because I never had a problem with it, but the other night I was using an emulator playing one of the alphas on RetroArch, and as I was doing a Shoryuken with Ryu, right here I snapped it, and I felt it snap. Because I have all sorts of these like lying around that are broken, through wire connection and spliced wires, but the buttons are good and the board's good, I honestly just swapped the components out. All these Saturn Model 2 pads, whether you have the PlayStation 2 one, a real Saturn one, a real Saturn USB, this Retrobit like Frankenstein one, you could just swap the parts out of it. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could make all these buttons black. I could make this have a black start button. It wasn't so much about getting too crazy cosmetic, but since I put a real OEM D-pad in here with the real plastic and not whatever Retrobit's using for some 3D printed bullshit, it's even better than before. So this is my go-to when I'm playing computer games. I have one for the Saturn as well. I've yet to break that D-pad, but this one, you know, out of the three, because these all go to the computer, you know, this is the most closest to the Saturn feel. And once again, people give this controller grief about the bumpers. Yeah, it's not really clicky, but it is very, very responsive as opposed to, you know, other mock-ups of the controller, you know, of these kind of controllers that are USB. So for the computer, I recommend this one. Just have an extra, you know, shit Model 2 pad, you know, on the side. One that's like broken or that you can get on eBay for a couple dollars with good hardware. Because you might have to swap out these components eventually. But it'll probably work and function even better than when you first opened it out of the box. But like I said, as far as the PlayStation goes, this is your go-to without using a Brook adapter to put something like this in, or like the PlayStation 2 variant with a bypass from Brook. This video is for people wondering how it feels for the Sega Saturn, because like I said, there's not too many videos about this one right now, and I'm sure other people have similar preferences of what's here today that you're watching within this video. But you know, people review this for the Switch, which I also have, but I'm not trying to talk about the Switch. But at the same time, they're trying to compare to using it into Smash Brothers and Mario Galaxy. Come on, if you've been in the arcade scene, or you're like a very big Sega enthusiast, you know what you're going to do with these fight pads, whether you're playing a fighting game or not. You don't use Smash Brothers with one of these. I have in the past. I guess it's cool, but, you know, to sum it all up in this video, this would be my bread and butter of all the fight pads. This goes for about 60. These are about 25, even though it's computer only, unless if you use a Brook. And then I got this around my birthday in February of 2019 for like 80 brand new, but now they're about 200. And I guess because they stopped making them. And if this never came out, you know, this would be the one to go to. But out of the three, for PlayStation, this one. For computer, that one. Primo SB, over and out, signing out. Keep it real.